And you know what? I haven't mentioned a single time yet. You need to come on to testosteronesports.com. We've got all the matchups lined out for you there. Anything that you missed here in this show, you can get for written purposes online. And then, of course, as soon as the show gets done tonight, come on to the website, testosteronesports.com, log in, click onto the Fat Chat, and join us. We'll be helping you set your lineups for your championship game. We'd love to help you guys out. We'd love to get your take on what we're going through as far as our lineups go, although it's not for much hardware this week. Yeastie and I do play for third place in a league, which will be a fun matchup. Yeah. Looking forward to that, and it's going to be a good time. So come on in. We'd love to network with y'all and get to know everybody, and friendship.
Why the hell would anybody listen to me? Why would you listen to me?
You're a great fantasy mind. You're just going through some grizzle.
Idiot.
All great fantasy minds have a little trudging through the mud they have to go through it.
Idiot.
And losing makes the winning that much more worthwhile. So, you know, the sweet taste of victory wouldn't be so good if you didn't ever taste the bitterness of defeat.
Sweet taste of a shotgun barrel in my mouth last Monday night when I anyways, hey, while we're talking about the Fat Chat, I wanted to give a shout out to a couple of guys that send us emails religiously. Father and son combo, Uggy and Jake, who send 1 or 2 emails a week. You know, thanks for all the support that you guys give us. They're probably the most regular, one of the most regular. I can't say the most regular because we've got some crazy mofos out there that really listen to what we have to say.
Several come to mind. Tony O, we'd like to thank you for joining us this year. Scott has been a contributor for the last couple of years. My own brother Tim, all the way out in Idaho. I'd like to thank you for locking it down each and every week. I can think of Sean Fredericks right now. Kevin High is a name from way back in the day.
Our main boy Vince from St. Croix.
Oh, yeah.
So
for sure. Vince, Milky, an OJ.
Bunch of you crazy mofos. We appreciate it, even if I do lead you astray. And
you guys all make this show worthwhile. And you guys are the third member of Testosterone. And we couldn't do it without the support of all you guys out there. And, you know, if you ever see us around, you know, if you feel like buying us a beer, come on to the chat. Invite us out.
Kicking me in the nuts.
We'll get to know each other.
You wrong or something.
You take Yeastie out, buy him a beer, take him out behind the bar, kick him square in the nuts.
Whatever.
He'll let you. No big deal.
It's all right. We could do that.
But we digress. We need to get back to the matchups.
I guess we need to get back to the rest of the matchups.
Buffalo at Denver. Yeastie, I think Denver might be one of the worst division winners in recent memory. They have no rushing power whatsoever. No. They throw the ball like crazy. I think they're going to get their passing game going. How do you like Jay Cutler to Brandon Marshall and Eddie Royal this week?
I think they're going to look pretty good. You know, I mean, other than the bad week last week, which was predicted that I didn't listen to myself. But Jay Cutler had a bad week last week. I look for him to bounce back. You've got to roll with Brandon Marshall and Jay Cutler if you've got him. And, you know, unless you have obvious other options like Tyler Thigpen out there.
I think this game could get a little bit out of hand on the scoring. And because Denver doesn't play very good defense at all, like the worst defense they've ever played, I think that Marshawn Lynch makes a pretty solid play here. Yeah. And if J.P. Losman is under center, I don't like Lee Evans very much. Trent Edwards is slowly starting to come back. Yeah. This game could get out of hand, so Evans could find some room to move. You can't really trust him right now. If you're in a consolation game, hey, throw him out there.
Throw him out there. He might get you the 80-yard touchdown, but Marshawn Lynch and Fred Jackson both have been playing well. So if you're in a really deep league that has a flex play or something, or return yards or something, roll with Fred Jackson. But Marshawn Lynch played really well last week, and I look for him to do it again this week.
And that's some positivity that you can expect as a career trend for him. I think he's going to be good running back down the road. So he's a good guy you can invest in. Likely you can get him in the second round next year, which is a pretty good value. He could be one of those 1,200-yard, 12-touchdown kind of guys.
God, he's an ugly bastard, though.
Probably the ugliest guy since Willie McGee.
Yeah, he's the ugliest.
Remember how ugly that dude was? When he ran, man, he looked like he was in so much pain. Just
yeah.
So one of the uglier matchups. I was going to call this one of the ugliest matchups of the week, but Houston beat Tennessee last week.
Yeah.
Craziness. They go to Oakland. I think they're a lock to win this game.
Oh, yeah.
And I really like Matt Schaub and his connection to Andre Johnson.
You think?
Andre Johnson, 207 yards and a touchdown. He's a man. If you had him in your lineup last week, in all likelihood you won. Of course, it does take a full team to win. But Andre Johnson, nonetheless, the best wide receiver in the NFL?
I got to say so. I really do.
Right.
I think he's the best. And I'm glad to have him in our Dynasty League, bro. I'm really glad to have him. Nnamdi Asomugha against him, though. Hopefully they'll move him around a little bit, which they don't do a whole lot. So if you're in the championship game because of Andre Johnson, he's obviously not going to go for 200 and a touchdown again against Nnamdi Asomugha. But he can score against anybody. So roll him out there, and I look for him to probably get into the house, but maybe only 60, 70 yards or so.
Yeah, you know, you want to temper your expectations on John. I think that Kevin Walter makes a pretty decent play here if you need a good flex guy, especially in deeper leagues. Walter is very solid, flying under the radar kind of guy, but he's a great number 2, and this is an offense that's really come around.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if they spent some of their draft on offensive line, you know, as they continue to develop that. It's such an important position. But, you know, you can expect them to put up numbers here, and I think that it's going to do great things for your fantasy team, especially Steve Slayton. I love that guy this week.
Steve Slayton against Oakland will look he'll look really good. He'll catch balls out of the backfield. He'll get to the house at least once, probably twice.
Yep.
And, you know, I think that the Houston Texans are a dominant offensive lineman away from being a serious contender in the AFC in the next couple of years.
And they've got a sneaky good defense.
Yeah,
so
they've
this
performed
is a team
really
on
well.
the move.
How about the Mario Williams and Reggie Bush comparisons right now?
I know, isn't that crazy?
I know, it's ridiculous. But,
yeah, it's very interesting,
you know.
because defensive end is a very high-profile position in the NFL. It's a top 3 position. You got to have a strong quarterback, a strong left tackle, and a strong defensive end. And the more we go, especially with the development and the surprise of Steve Slayton, the more you think the Texans weren't just smoking Chiba when they drafted Mario Williams.
Yeah.
They had their head screwed on straight. That was a great move.
Yeah.
Oakland should take a page out of their book.
Yeah.
Go get yourself a high-profile defensive end. You're going to have an earlier pick. There's a good defensive end class. If you watched last week's show, we saw Sean Zobel from draftheadquarters.com. Hit him up, help him out on the hits on his site. Oakland needs to do that. It's a good defensive end class. As far as Oakland goes, I don't like anybody in this matchup, and that's too bad because Houston will give it up.
Yeah, Houston on the road is prone to giving up some yards on the ground. I think Justin Fargas is probably the best bet. Darren McFadden, if you've got him, you know, he did some things well last week, but I wouldn't depend on him for a championship game.
You can't. Sure. Not yet. Maybe next year. We'll keep an eye on that. He's dealt with some toe issues, and you know, he's one player that I really worry about getting into trouble over the offseason.
Yeah.
It seems like he's going to feel like, hey, I've arrived, I got my money, let's go party. I'm Darren McFadden. I want to get lauded with fanfare, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him get in a little
Javon
trouble.
Walker could take him out.
That's, you know, pretty bad idea. Yeah. Javon Walker, probably not the best guy to be taking advice from. Maybe they could hang out with Ronald Curry.
Nice.
Maybe not a good idea. They should hang out with Al Davis. I don't know about that.
Just stay home, Darren.
I'd love to see Javon Walker, Ron Curry, Jamarcus Russell, and Darren McFadden all wearing the Al Davis jumpsuit.
Nice.
Wouldn't that be funny? With the big medallion.
That would be a little scary.
It would be a little scary. They could do the Raiders shuffle all the way to the top 5 pick. Philadelphia going to Washington. Washington laid an egg last week in a game that I thought that they would win. This team has come out, and the captains on the team, the veterans on the team, really questioning Jim Zorn and his inexperience. Yeah. This team is imploding from the inside out, and it's not a pretty situation. So I think that although this is a big-time game, they're a pride-filled team, it's going to be a tough game for Philadelphia to win this game. Philadelphia is still alive for the playoffs thanks to that tie that they have. How do you like Philadelphia's offense going here?
I think you've got to roll with who got you there with the Philadelphia offense, even though Brian Westbrook probably killed the majority of his owners last week. Go with him anyways because I think he's going to play very well against Washington. He's done so in the past. Donovan McNabb's been the hottest quarterback in the league the last few weeks since he got benched against Baltimore. So go with him. And, you know, Kevin Curtis showed up. Jason Avant, for God's sake, showed up for the Eagles. You know, so he's spreading the ball around, and that's not good for fantasy owners, but it's good for the Eagles. So.
And one thing we're seeing here about Deshaun Jackson, he was hot right away out of the gate. Opposing defenses hadn't really seen his skill set yet. He got off right away. This is a rookie wall situation we're seeing. Yep. And I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think that there might be some parameters here we can discuss. Another guy, Eddie Royal, a big splash right away for the Denver Broncos. He's had some sparks of late, but definitely not the consistency that we saw early on. These are two young wide receivers. Yeah. They start to garnish a little bit of a double team. They get taken out of the game very easily, and I think we're starting to see that. So as you go forward in your fantasy football careers, take note of these guys. These guys are guys that are good to get early. You can get them like the last pick in your draft. They're going to do well for you right away, but then you want to trade high on them. And then as far as running backs goes, you see that in some of the guys who come in as running backs who are featured right away. They hit that rookie wall, a la Adrian Peterson last year.
Yep.
There are guys, however, not in featured situations who are in committee approaches stay fresh, like Chris Johnson.
Yeah.
Now, there is also the amendment to the rule, and that's a Matt Forte or a Steve Slayton. So you got to be able to roll with the punches, but still, the rule is there nonetheless. And this is what's keeping us, who aren't playing for hardware this weekend, coming back for more. There's always something to learn for fantasy football. So take note, guys in committees tend to stay fresh longer. Got anything to say about that?
I'm sorry, I stopped listening about 90 seconds ago.
So we will move on. Clint Portis probably won't do so much this week, although if they give him the carries, he might run with heart. He's a good, prideful player. I really like him. Santana Moss has sucked this year.
I hate that guy.
I thought he'd be good.
Don't play Santana
He's
Moss.
tiny.
Just do a favor to me and don't play that.
Don't
son
play
of a
him.
gun. Seriously.
He's going to have Asante Samuel locked upon him all week,
Yeah, don't
or
play
all
him.
game.
Don't play him.
And Samuel's probably the best cornerback in the NFL now that Champ Bailey's taken a step back. Samuel, 50-yard interception return for a touchdown last week. Fantastic playmaker. You want to keep him going for sure.
Yes.
Carolina at the Giants. This is a potential NFC conference championship preview here. I know the Giants are a little bit nicked up. They'll probably be without the Kraken. Carolina has been amazing. What do you think is going to happen in this game? I don't know what to think.
You know, the Giants have lost 6 straight games in December at home, and they're banged up. They're not playing well. And there's, outside of Pittsburgh maybe, there's not a hotter team in the NFL than the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
So they're firing on all cylinders right now. Steve Smith is catching the ball like crazy again. Jake Delhome's throwing it up to him. They're spreading the ball around with D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. The offensive line is dominating. I got to go with Carolina.
Well, I think you're right about that, and they are the hot team. And here's the interesting thing. It's going to be a hard-fought game, and the reason is because the winner of this game has home field advantage throughout.
Yeah, they're the number 1 seed.
So there's some definite positioning on the line here. You know Tom Coughlin's going to have his team ready to go, and they're lucky they get to play this game in the Meadowlands. It's going to be a slugfest to be sure, and I think that for all intents and purposes, probably the NFC preview game, although I'm going to throw my hat in the ring with the purple.
The purple, you never know.
Can you do?
I wish we could queue up, our boy Alex in the booth could queue up the picks from the preseason, where at the very end you're like, Yeastie's picks ended up on the cutting room floor because I couldn't be here.
Yeah.
But he picks the Carolina Panthers as we faded to black.
Right.
So, you know, I've got a $20 wager ticket on a 50-1 Carolina Panthers to win the Super Bowl sitting on my fridge. So that'll be my saving grace. If I'm a Panthers fan right now, dude. I want them to win the whole thing.
I mean, if I had that
besides
bet, I would
the purple,
be too,
of course. Besides the purple, because everybody around here knows that I love the purple. I love them.
Oh, it's getting deep in here. I'll tell you what, I need a
dude,
shovel.
you know I'm rooting for the purple. You know I like them.
Oh, dude, was that you? Oh, no, it's the next matchup.
Oh.
The Green Bay Packers bringing their stinky cheese down to Chicago to play in probably the oldest rivalry in the NFL. It should be a good game. Dude, I'm actually going to root Go Pack Go this week.
Yeah?
Because with either a Viking victory or a Chicago Bear loss, the Vikes get the division. I would love to see the Packers take out the Bears this week. What do you think is going to happen in this game, and what do you like as far as fantasy football goes? You
know, the Bears have a pretty soft pass defense. Aaron Rodgers has played very well. Greg Jennings has played very well. Ryan Grant has shown flashes. So look for the Packers, hopefully, to get something done. They didn't play nearly as well as I thought they would at Jacksonville last week. Maybe they've given up. I don't know. So it could be the Bears run right over them, or the Packers could put up some points. I think the Bears will win this game.
Yep.
Because I think they're playing pretty well. Matt Forte should play pretty well, although he is a little dinged up. But then you start your regulars. You start Ryan Grant if you need to, Greg Jennings, and Aaron Rodgers as well.
I also like Matt Forte in this game. You can't really start much more. Aaron Rodgers being inexperienced, I think the Bears' defense makes a good play. They have to win this game, and usually in games they have to win, the defense comes a little more motivated. Urlacher's done a nice job of staying healthy this year, locking down the middle. He's doing a little bit more cerebrally than physically this year. But the Packers, their biggest problem, I hesitate to even give them the way to fix things, but if you want to win in the NFL, you got to stop the run. And they just don't seem to.
Yeah.
Matt Forte is going to have a day.
Yeah, their defense has played very bad the last few weeks. They're a big play gambling defense, which is good for fantasy sometimes, but not good for the NFL.
Yep. So, well, that's the show we've got for you. Week 16 in the NFL. This is Testosterone Sports. I'm Jeff for Yeastie. We'd like to thank you all for joining us all season long. We'll be here year in and year out, good Lord willing. We'd like to thank you all for joining us once again.
Third place.
Don't forget to come on to testosteronsports.com. Come on to the Fat Chat. We'll be there to discuss everything with you, football and non-football related, because if you want to win,
you got to tune in even if I'm here.
To Testosterone Fantasy Sports. Good night, everybody.